Hi and welcome back to Living to the Fullest. In my previous video, I went shopping for ingredients for Boeuf Bourguignon, and now I'm collecting some fresh herbs. I have parsley growing in the backyard, and then I've got thyme and rosemary actually growing right in my front porch planters. I think they look nice, and because I remember to water my planters, the herbs also get watered and they last longer. So I'm gonna rinse them off and let them just air dry. I'm not going to go over the exact measurements. This is a very popular recipe. It's the Julia Child version, so anyone can just Google her recipe to get the exact measurements. I'm adding probably a little bit more carrots, a little bit more mushrooms than the recipe calls for, but that's just because I love extra veggies. So we're cutting up mushrooms into about quarter chunks or half chunks for the smaller ones. Like I said, my herbs are drying out, and I'm also going to add probably some herb de Provence. I have a mixture. Those are dry herbs, so if you don't have fresh, you can always use those, but the recipe traditionally calls for parsley and thyme only. Now I'm going to cut up some carrots. I'm cutting them up in pretty big chunks, and after the carrots, I'm chopping up half of a yellow onion. I'm going to chop it up pretty finely because this is going to just flavor the stew. The pearl onions will be added sort of towards the end, and those will be the onions that will have a little bit more texture. A great tip comes from Ina Garden. She always uses frozen pearl onions in her Boeuf Bourguignon, and this is just a quicker way to get them into your recipe without having to peel a lot of tiny onions. Next is adding some garlic, and I went and grabbed my ice tray of frozen garlic. I mince them in large batches, and then I freeze them in these ice cube trays. And they are the easy pop ones, so I popped out about 2. So that's approximately 8 to 10 garlic cloves minced. This is a really great time saver, and all you have to do is pop it out, put the rest back in the freezer, and let the pucks come to room temperature on your counter. Now we need to prepare 3 cups of beef broth. So I've warmed this up in the microwave, just plain water, and to it I'm going to add a heaping tablespoon of the Better Than Bouillon beef broth. When I opened it, I saw the really rich color. This is the color you want for a very tasty broth. You could also use homemade beef broth or store-bought, but this one I found has the most flavor, this specific brand. So now I'm just letting it kind of melt in the hot water. I got a whisk, and I really want it to dissolve fully before we add this to our stew. And now I'm cubing the 3 pounds of chuck roast into about 2-inch cubes. And then I'm going to salt and pepper them and also roll them in some flour. Now we're ready to start cooking everything in the Dutch oven. I'm setting it to a medium-high temperature and let the bacon sizzle for about 5 to 6 minutes until it turns brown. Scoop out the bacon and leave the fat on the bottom. The rendered fat from the bacon will be what we're going to use to saute our beef cubes. Because it's 3 pounds of beef cubes, I would do these in batches. Otherwise, your beef will steam and not brown on each side. So you want a nice brown golden color on all 4 sides, but if you don't have time or your pan starts to burn, then just do 2 sides.